It's good to see you. We are going to walk through a little bit of a new pedal board that I've put together over the last couple of years. So I've switched my rig out. I had a rig for a long time that had sort of a rack mount type of thing with a MIDI controller for it. It was a great board, but I've decided to go a little bit more organic, and I know some of you had some interest on what was on my board and how I was running the current rig, so I thought I'd walk you through some of the stuff on it. Let me walk you through the basics of what I have. First of all, I'm playing an Anderson Strat. It's basically like a Sir or just a regular Fender high-end Strat. I'm going into a Fender Bassman. I think this is a 1966, a Matchless DC-30. It's a couple years older. I'm going into a Matchless cabinet, and on the other side I've got an old Mesa Boogie cabinet with just a 112 Celestion in it. I think it's an 80 watter. And then for my pedal board itself, I'm going to walk you through just the flow of things, but I'll take you through first the order of stuff. So I go from my guitar straight into the volume pedal. A lot of guys put volume pedals after their distortions. I actually like mine before distortions, because when you start to back off, it sort of cleans up your sound. Like that. Some guys like to be able to have the wide open sound and just lower the volume on it, so both are good ways to go. I take that out into a tuner. I have the Sonic Research Turbo Tuner. It's very accurate, it's very fast, so as I'm tuning, even if I'm like live, I can see the notes that are coming out very quickly, and I can see if I'm in tune, which is really nice when I'm playing single notes. Then I take that from into a Keeley limiting amplifier. That's just a compressor. For me, I'll play a little bit of these too as I go along. For me, I like, let me take this off. I like a compressor that you don't hear breathing. So like the old Boss Blue compressors, or the MXR Dynacomps and stuff like that. They're great compressors, but they get a very specific sound that you can sort of hear a mile away. They're useful, you know, if you're doing some chicken picking or something like that. They sound really good. I have a Wampler Ego Boost or Ego compressor at home that is that sort of squashed sound, and I like it and I use it, but typically on this board I don't want to hear compression working, so I don't want to hear it breathing and squishing the sound. I want something that basically is lopping off the top, so I've got this set up just to sort of like add sustain to it. So here's without, here's with. So I hear that a little bit, and actually I even have it right now a little bit hotter than I'd normally have it, but it gets at like a... I don't do a lot of that sort of playing, but I do an awful lot of like a... that sort of stuff. And I just like it to take off the top of the top end, like loud peaks, and also sustain on the bottom end. All right, and then I go into all of my distortions. So that is almost like acting as a clean boost also, but in my first stage I've got a TC Spark pedal. It's very similar to like an RC boost or something like that. And what I do is I just have a tiny bit of hair on it. So if I go from that to this, how it sounds a little bit like you're driving a tube amp, which is a really great sound for tube amps. Incidentally, I run my amps dead clean. It's a little bit better sound, I think, for distortions if you have a tube amp and you're able to run it with a little bit of fur on it, so that when you really dig in, it gets a little bit crunchy. The only thing is I need some really super clean sounds. So I need ultra clean when I go to cleans, and I need them to really cut through a mix. So I just keep my amps clean. You know, I'm running them on 2 or something like that, so they really don't break up barely at all until I really dig in. So this first stage gives me a little bit of that like tube amp growl. Second stage, I've got a Timmy Pedal, and it's a great pedal. It does have that like Fender slightly overdriven sound, which is nice. So here's without the Timmy. Sorry, I got a bunch of reverb on, but here's with the Timmy. It's not quite Stevie Ray Vaughan, but you know, that sort of going into that zone. And I keep that one pretty low as far as the gain, so it's just a little bit more gain than that first stage. Third stage of distortion, I've got a dual fusion pedal by Wampler. It's a nice pedal, and the one cool thing about this is it's basically like two pedals in one. It's in a very small package, but the first side is a Paisley drive by Brad Paisley. I wish it made me play like him, but it does get that like sort of a little bit of a harder overdrive. So a little bit of the, that kind of country-ish sort of vibe. But I use it, obviously I'm playing worship music with this, so I'm not doing much country, but I'll definitely use it on like a... It just gives me like a nice warm drive. It's not a lead tone, but it's great for you know, sort of smashing out some chords and stuff, or doing a little bit of that like arpeggiated stuff. The last drive that I have is also from the Wampler. I think this one is called, I forget what it's called, but it's another one of his drives. It's a little bit harder drive, and this one I do use for more like leady sound. So. So a little bit thicker tone. So those are my drives. So compression into the drives, and then I go into the back end pedals, which are all my time delay stuff. So the first pedal I go into is this DD7 digital delay. It's, you know, on everybody's pedal board. It's a great clean sounding delay. What I mostly use this pedal for is I mostly use it for like reversey type of stuff. So if I'm trying to do more ambient type stuff, I'll put it on. Let me turn off the other delay so you hear it. And I'll do stuff with it where I've got like sort of that backgroundy type of stuff, or if I'm doing big swells. It just makes it a little bit thicker and bigger sounding. And then I go into my, let me think of the order here. I think I go into the Mobius next. The Mobius is by Strymon, and it's all like chorusy time type of stuff. So like, let's see what I have on this one right now. Okay, so this is like a Leslie sound. Yeah, and I actually do like the sound of using that in sort of like little lines and stuff like that during worship. A lot of times though I might have it on just like a regular chorus sound or something like that. I take that into the timeline. There's been lots on the timeline. I primarily use just one setting on the thing. I like the D bucket sound a lot, so I mostly stay on the D bucket. It's a really nice, like warm, you can hear it sort of roll off the top a little bit on the end. It's real thick sounding, which I sort of like. So it's not as cold as a digital delay. Almost sounds like the Line 6 analog stuff, but a little bit cleaner than that. Sometimes I'll put some modulation on it just to make it go a little bit wider. Since I'm running in stereo, you know, it sort of washes out the sound a little bit, which is nice. And then the last pedal that I'm going into is the Big Sky, and I'll use that for a couple of different settings. Mostly though I have it on plate. Right now I have it on a room reverb for whatever reason. I'll also use it with a cloud setting for like big ambient sounds, and I'll walk you through those in a little bit. So those are my basic pedals that are on the board. And then I guess the next thing to talk about is how I switch them. So what the switcher is. Now, there's a lot of good switchers on the market. I happened to buy this Boss ES8, came out right when I was about ready to switch over. I like Boss products. It did what I wanted it to do, so I bought it and I've been very happy with it. It's big, which I don't like, but other than that, it sounds great. They all sound great. They're all transparent, so you don't really hear any of the switchers. But it has a lot of different menus that I can do what I need to do. One of the things that's unique about this setup, a lot of guys are doing this, but I'm used to programming sounds for songs. So I have like a B-board that I'll do studio sessions with or live gigs with or something like that, that I want to be able to have quick access, and I just want to be able to dial in a sound, spin it in really fast, because time is of the essence in situations like that. But on this one I can actually program stuff. So if I'm doing This Is Amazing Grace, I pull up This Is Amazing Grace, and I've got the sounds ready to roll. So once I program the sounds, they're all in here. So I got this ES8, and it's able to program songs in for me, which is really nice. That way when I have set lists of once I program a song, I can just pull up the patch and I can go back to it later and pull up This Is Amazing Grace or How He Loves or something like that. That way I don't have to reprogram every time that I'm doing the songs. The way that I run this thing live too, and there's a lot on programming and stuff, but the way I run it live, I don't even know what they call it. I think it's called manual mode. So if you see, if I'm in this mode, I can go through patches 1, 2, 3, 4, and you see the different patch changes, like How He Loves and This Is Amazing Grace are two that we're doing this weekend. So I have those up. But I normally run it in this mode, which is manual mode. Now what that allows me to do is it allows me to turn on all my individual pedals. So this is compressor, this is the spark boost, this is the Timmy, this is the left half of the Fusion, the Paisley drive. That's the, or the right half. This is the left half of the Fusion, a little bit heavier drive. This is my digital delay, Mobius, and then I have both time-based Strymons on patch 8. They're all run, the three Strymons are all run via MIDI, so I program the sounds in, MIDI signal goes out and changes the patches for me, and I'm able to get different patches. And with this mode that I'm in, the nice thing about that then, so if I pull up a sound, let's say I'm in This Is Amazing Grace. I can turn on and off effects as I want, or I can put in add whatever I want on in live real time, which is nice. Then when I want to switch to the next setting, all I have to do is hit a bank up setting, boom, and it takes me to the next song. So I go song, 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 and what I do then when I'm actually playing live is I'll have the full set. Let's say it's a 5-song set. I'll have all 5 songs ready to go. I forget the next song that we're doing. So that way I don't have to worry about where my starting point is. I don't have to do a lot of switching, and especially if I'm singing, I want to be able to just hit one button and go into the next sound, and that's really helpful for me for a live setting. It takes a little bit more upfront programming, but it works really well in a live type of setting.